All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find. We're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, 415-883-3030, marinautoglass.com on the web, as well as Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And don't forget Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. Underdog Fantasy, a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's talk a little 49ers. Interestingly enough, John Lynch has just never shied away from making the big move. Whether it was Christian McCaffrey or making another big move for Trent Williams, Chase Young at the trade deadline, Lynch is aggressive and he stays aggressive. And after the Niners lost the Super Bowl, there's been a lot of speculation that they might go for a trade of a corner or for a corner. L'Jarius Sneed was rumored, but he's now been moved to Tennessee. Patrick Surtain is another guy out there, but you got to think the price tag's got to be pretty high. Well, the 33rd team is suggesting the Niners would be a perfect fit if the Browns are intent on trading their star cornerback, Greg Newsome. Interesting, Dan Pizzula, who writes for the 33rd team, says the 49ers could use another outside cornerback opposite Mooney Ward. Diamador Lenore and Ambry Thomas were average when out there in 2023 as the Niners cycled through players on the outside. San Francisco could work to load up some contracts while taking advantage of Brock Purdy's 7th-round rookie contract while it lasts. Interestingly, Newsome had one of his best seasons of his career in Jim Schwartz's defense in 2023. The Browns took him in the first round, 26th overall in 2021. And, he was a shutdown guy in 2023, held opposing quarterbacks to a 76.4 passer rating when targeting him last season, according to Pro Football Focus. And through his first 3 seasons, he's had 128 total tackles with 1 sack and 2 picks. So if the Niners are looking to upgrade their defense, maybe this is a guy they would look at. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Newsome. I liked him in the draft. 6 feet, 195 pounds, 23 years of age. According to the 23rd team, the Raiders and Niners are the teams that are showing pre-draft trade interest in Greg Newsome II. 6 foot, 195. Browns have a surplus of starting corners. They're open to trading one. It's probably going to be Newsome II. They have Denzel Ward, they have Martin Emerson, and then Newsome II. And he's entering his 4th NFL season. He's due a new contract next March if Cleveland opts not to exercise his 5th-year player option. So, he's an interesting player. He was a first-round pick, as we said, 26th overall out of Northwestern in the 21 draft. And he's been forced to play inside. He's better outside. So if you're the Niners and you like Demo Lenore inside and you don't love Ambry Thomas outside and you want to upgrade, you want to do it with somebody who's a little bit more of a guarantee than just a question mark, you could go and make a trade with the Browns for Newsome. He's going to need a new contract starting next year, probably right around the 5th-year option amount of $13.3 million. So that's really the question. What do you want to trade for him for 1 year if you're not going to pay him that $13 million? Or if you are going to pay him the $13 million, maybe it makes sense to get him right now. He's from Chicago. He played his final year of high school at IMG Academy in Florida as a senior in high school. Long arms, great timing, well-versed in many different schemes, can play the cover 3, can play, that's what he played at Northwestern, a lot of cover 3. But he also can play quarters coverage. He can play press man. He needs a little work in off-man coverage, but he's a great competitor. He's got good strength, really good physicality. He's a willing tackler, phenomenal ball skills. I mean, this guy's ready to play. He'll set the edge in the run game. He'll make tackles all over the field, and he's a well above average corner, and he's coming off a pretty good year. Now he's played a lot more inside than the Niners will probably have him play outside and leave Lenore inside. That would be my guess. But you probably could get Greg Newsome the second away from Cleveland for a day 2 pick, maybe even a day 3 pick. So I'm thinking a third or a fourth round pick probably gets it done for Newsome. He's only got 1 year left. They're probably not wanting to pay him because they've got Ward, they've got Emerson in front of him. But this is a good player. And if you're inside your Super Bowl window and you want to add a corner that's ready to go right now, this guy's ready to go right now. I mean, this guy's ready to play. So that's really the question. Do you want to go in the draft and hope that, who knows how many corners the Niners like in the draft? They may like 2, they may like 10. Are you going to take a chance that, the corner that you like is going to be on the board when you want to take him? That's really the question. I mean, I think ultimately Newsome fits well in the Niners defense because Newsome's a good player who can play a lot of different schemes. And I think he'd fit well. I think they would probably leave Lenore on the inside and play Greg Newsome the second over Ambry Thomas and Luter and Womack and all those guys. They do have good depth at the position, so they have, it's not like they just need a bunch of bodies. They've got pretty good depth. You can always use more good corners, that's for sure. But they have 7 corners going into the draft, so they're not. It's not like they've got 3 and they need to pick up 3. They, most teams go with 5 or 6, and they have 7 right now. So depth wise, they've got enough. It's about, can they get that starting caliber corner? Can they find somebody who could start opposite Mooney and Lenore and not just be in the mix, but actually could be like a front runner to start and maybe even be one of the best players they have in their secondary? So that's really kind of the question. What's out there? How do they look at the cornerback field? How do they look at their cornerback needs compared to their needs on the offensive line, the defensive line, and other spots on the roster? Because if corner's like a third or fourth need, you may be looking at day 3 guys. And if you're looking at day 3 guys, then maybe a trade for Greg Newsome makes a lot of sense because he's gonna step in right away. So there you have it. According to reports, the 49ers, according to the 33rd team, the Niners and Raiders are in line for a trade for Greg Newsome, and I think it would be a great move. I love Newsome. He's an aggressive, physical, attacking player who will set the edge in the run game, can play outside, can play against the run. I like him. I don't know if I want to give my second and my third for him, but if I could give 1 pick on day 2 and maybe 1 pick on day 3, or maybe a day 3 pick and not a day 2 pick. I mean, this is only a 1-year deal. So, that you're getting a player who, Cleveland's decided they probably can't afford to extend, can't probably afford to pay him on that 5th-year option. And so they're looking to move him. So maybe his price tag's more like a 4th or a 5th because he's done at the end of the year, unless you want to pay him $13 million. So either way, the Niners are inside their Super Bowl window. They need a number 1 corner. Newsome is, I don't think, a number 1, but he's close. And it would really help their secondary if they could get 1 more for sure corner out of this draft. And maybe Newsome's it. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Marin Autoglass for being our sponsor as well. And thanks to Underdog Fantasy, as well as Sharp Corners, Sports Cards, and Collectibles. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.